Aloha, my name is Samuel Kadat. I live in Hawaii and I go to Kailua Intermediate School. This is my project in a nutshell. So, my grandparents needed a lot of attention and they were always home alone and they needed to take many medications to be healthy and alive. So, I needed a way to fix this. Since I like technology, I wanted to make the device using my technological skills. This caused me to create a device that would solve this problem with a few extra features that makes doctors, patients, and the relatives' lives easier. But there had to be a few requirements. So the requirements were that it has to be portable. It can't be heavy like a rock because someone's not going to be bringing that around. And it has to be simple to use, so I've integrated only a yes and a no button. And lastly, it has to be cheap because not everyone has $2,000 to blow on a device like this. So creating this device took a lot of effort and time. And on the first prototype, I didn't get through a lot of the requirements on the first or second prototype. So the first prototype used a Raspberry Pi, and it had a Pi TFT, which is an LCD that you can put on top of the Raspberry Pi, but that was only using a local database, which was not useful for doctors to send message wirelessly. But the second prototype used still the Raspberry Pi and the Pi TFT, but this time it was using SQL that was using Wi-Fi so that doctors could send messages and the patient would receive the message and respond. However, it was still pretty expensive and it wasn't that portable. So, the third prototype, which is the current prototype, uses an Intel Edison, which is very small, like the size of an SD card and the thickness of an SD card. And I used an OLED screen, which is very efficient because it does not take that much power. So the device can last a really long time on a little battery. And this device is very cheap to make. So here's a demonstration on how the device works.
So let me show you how the entire system and device works. First, when you land on the home page, you'll either choose if you're a doctor or a patient. We'll be choosing doctor. Then you'll need to select your title. You'll need to type in your last name and the password that the user gave you. Then we have multiple choices that we can pick from, but for now we'll only be messaging the patient. Then each device has their own unique number, and the device that I'm currently demonstrating has the ID of 3. Then we can type in a question: will you come to the doctor today? Then, once we finish typing it in, when we press submit, it'll come up with a table saying all of the messages before and what the response is. This is the one that we just sent, and it's still pending. If we go to the
Device. So when the message pops up, you can either respond yes or no. And it says, will you come to the doctor today? In 2 slides. Then, if you're new with the device, it'll say yes, which is that, or no, which is that button. So we'll respond yes, and then it goes back into the idling screen.
Once we're back on the computer, we can see that when we refresh the page, the response changes to a yes. Thanks for watching, and aloha!